Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Vishal from Maharaja Agarsian University, Badi, Himachal Pradesh. Today we are going to discuss about the module Foreign Trade or Exim Policy under the paper International Business Operations. Students, after completing this module, you will be able to understand the meaning and concept of foreign trade or exim policy and know about the highlights of foreign trade policy 2015 to 20. Foreign trade policy, alternatively known as export import policy, refers to policy adopted by a country with reference to exports and imports. Trade policy can be free trade policy or protective trade policy. A free trade policy is one which does not impose any restriction on the exchange of goods and services between different countries. A free trade policy involves complete absence of tariffs, quotas, exchange restrictions, taxes, and subsidies on production, factory use, and consumption. Though free trade theoretically offers several advantages, in reality, particularly underdeveloped countries were at a disadvantage in such a system of international trade. As a result, in the early 20th century, international economy saw the emergence of protective trade policies. A protective trade policy pursued by the country seeks to maintain a system of trade restrictions with the objective of protecting the domestic economy from the competition of foreign products. Protective trade policy constituted an important plank in the commercial policies of underdeveloped countries during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and to some extent in the 80s. Many of the underdeveloped countries continue to have protective trade policy even today. Exim policy is formulated keeping in view the national priorities for economic development and the international commitments made by the country. It is essential that the entrepreneurs and the export managers understand the trade policy as it provides the vital inputs for the formulation of their business growth strategies. The foreign trade of India is guided by the export import policy of the Government of India. ARID is regulated by the Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act 1992. Exim policy contains various policy decisions taken by the government in the sphere of foreign trade. That is, with respect to imports and exports from the country, and more especially export promotion measures, policies, and procedures related thereto. It is prepared and announced by the Central Government Ministry of Commerce, and India's Exim policy in performance, encouraging foreign trade and creating favorable balance of payment position. Highlights of the foreign trade policy 2015-20. Simplification and merger of reward schemes. Export from India schemes. Under export from India schemes, the first one is merchandise exports from India schemes, shortly called as MEIS. Earlier, there were 5 different schemes: Focus Product Scheme, Market Linked Focus Product Scheme, Focus Market Scheme, Agri Infrastructure Incentive Scrip, and VK GAI. 4. rewarding merchandise exports with different kinds of duty scripts with varying condition, sector specific or actual user only attached to their use. Now, all these schemes have been merged into a single scheme, namely Merchandise Export from India scheme, and there would be no conditionality attached to the scripts issued under the scheme. Rewards for export of notified goods to notified markets under Merchandise Export India schemes shall be payable as percentage of realized FOB value. The debits towards basic custom duty in the transferable reward duty credit scripts would also be allowed adjustment as duty drawback. At present, only the additional duty of customs or excise duty or service tax is allowed adjustment as SANVAT credit or drawback as per the Department of Revenue rules. Service exports from India scheme. Served from India scheme has been replaced with service exports from India scheme. SEIS shall apply to service providers located in India instead of Indian service providers. Thus, SEIS provides for rewards to all service providers of notified services who are providing services from India regardless of the constitution or profile of the service provider. The rate of reward under SEIS would be based on net foreign exchange earned. The reward issued as duty credit script would no longer be with actual user condition and will no longer be restricted to usage for specified type of goods but be freely transferable and usable for all types of goods, and service tax debits on procurement of services or goods. Debits would be eligible for SANVAT credit or drawback. Number 3, incentives, MEIS and SEIS to be availed for sets. It is now proposed to extend Chapter 3 as incentives to units located in special economic zones also. Number 4, duty credit scripts to be freely transferable and usable for payment of custom duty, excise duty and service tax. All scripts issued under MEIS and SEIS and the goods imported against these scripts would be fully transferable. Scripts issued under exports from India schemes can be used for the following. Number 1, payment of custom duty for import of inputs or goods including capital goods except items listed in Appendix 3A. Number 2, payment of excise duty on domestic procurement of inputs or goods including capital goods as per DOR notification. Number 3, payment of service tax on procurement of services as per DOR notification. Basic custom duty paid in cash or through debit under duty credit script can be taken back as duty drawbacks as per DOR rules if inputs so imported are used for exports. Number 5, stakeholders. Business leaders who have excelled in international trade and have successfully contributed to countries' foreign trade are proposed to be recognized as a status holder and given special treatment and privileges to facilitate their trade transactions in order to reduce their transaction cost and time. The nomenclature of export house, star export house, trading house, star trading house, premier trading house certificate has been changed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star export house. The criteria for export performance for recognition of status holders have been changed from rupee to US dollar earnings. The new criteria is as under. Status category and export performance FOB or FOR as converted value in US dollars in millions during current and previous 2 years. 1-star export house 3, 2-star export house 25, 3-star export house 100, 4-star export house 500 and 5-star export house 2000. Approved exporter scheme self-certification by status holders. Manufacturers who are also status holders will be enabled to self-certify their manufactured goods as originating from India with a view to qualify for preferential treatment under different preferential trading agreements, free trade agreements, comprehensive economic cooperation agreements, and comprehensive economic partnership agreements which are in operation. They shall be permitted to self-certify the goods as manufactured as per their industrial entrepreneur memorandum or industrial license or letter of intent. Boost to Make in India. Under Boost to Make in India, the following efforts have been initiated. Reduced export obligation for domestic procurement under EPCG scheme. Specific export obligation under EPCG scheme in case capital goods are procured from indigenous manufacturers, which is currently 90% of the normal export obligation, has been reduced to 75% in order to promote domestic capital goods manufacturing industry. Higher level of rewards under MEIS for export items with high domestic content and value addition. It is proposed to give higher level of rewards to products with high domestic content and value addition as compared to products with high import content and less value addition. Online filling of documents or applications and paperless trade in 24 into 7 environment. DGFT already provides facility of online filling of various applications under FTP by the exporters or importers. However, certain documents like certificates issued by the chartered accountants, company secretary, cost accountants, etc. have to be filled in physical forms only. In the new system, it will be possible to upload online documents. The annexure attached to ANF 3B, ANF 3C and ANF 3D, which are at present signed by these signatories and submitted physically. Trade facilitation and ease of doing business. Under this, these are the initiatives which have been taken. Online filling of documents or applications and paperless trade in 24 into 7 environment. Henceforth, hard copies of applications and specified documents would not be required to be submitted to RA, saving paper as well as cost and time for the exporters. To start with, applications under chapter 3 and 4 of FTP are being covered, which account for nearly 70% of total applications in DGFT. As a measure of ease of doing business, lending documents of export consignment as proofs for notified market can be digitally uploaded in the following manner. Number 1. Any exporter may upload the scanned copy of bill of entry under his digital signature. Number 2. Status holders falling in the category of a 3-star, 4-star or 5-star export house may upload scanned copies of documents. Next, online interministerial consultations. It is proposed to have online interministerial consultations for approval of export of SCOMET items, norms fixation, import authorizations, export authorizations in a phased manner with the objective to reduce time for approval. As a result, there would not be any need to submit hard copies of documents for these purposes by exporters. Simplification of procedures or processes, digitalization and e-governance. Under EPCG scheme, obtaining and submitting a certificate from an independent chartered engineer confirming the use of spares, tools, refractory and catalyst imported for final redemption of EPCG authorization has been dispensed with. At present, the EPCG authorization holders are required to maintain record for 3 years after redemption of authorizations. Now, the EPCG authorization holders shall be required to maintain record for a period of 2 years only. Government's endeavor is to gradually phase out this requirement as the relevant records such as shipping bills, EBRC are likely to be available in the electronic mode, which can be archived and retrieved whenever required. Simplification of procedures or processes, digitalization and e-governance. Exporters importer profile facility has been created to upload documents in exporter or importer profile. There will be no need to submit copies of permanent records or documents repeatedly with each application once uploaded. Next, communication with exporters or importers. Certain information like mobile number, email address, etc. has been added as mandatory fields in IEC database. This information, once provided by the exporters, would help in better communication with exporters. SMS, email would be sent to exporters to inform them about issuance of authorizations or status of their applications. Online message exchange with the Central Board of Direct Taxes and MCA, it has been decided to have online message exchange with the CBDT for PAN data and with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs for CIN and DIN data. The integration would obviate the need for seeking information from IEC holder for subsequent amendments or updation of data in IEC database. Next, communication with committees of DGFT. For faster and paperless communication with various committees of DGFT, dedicated email addresses have been provided to each norms committee, import committee, and pre-shipment inspection agency for faster communication. Next, online application for refunds. Online filling of application for refund of TED is being introduced for each of our new ANF has been created. Let's discuss now forthcoming e-governance initiatives. DGFT is currently working on the following EDI initiatives. Message exchange for transmission of export reward scripts from DGFT to customs. message exchange for transmission of bills of entry from customs to DGFT, online issuance of export obligation discharge certificate, message exchange with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs for CIN and DIN, message exchange with CBDT for PAN, facility to pay application fee using debit card or credit card, open API for submission of IEC application, mobile application for FTP. Other new initiatives. New initiatives for EOUs, EHTPs and STPs. EOUs, EHTPs, STPs have been allowed to share infrastructural facilities among themselves. This will enable units to utilize their infrastructural facilities in an optimum way and avoid duplication of efforts and cost to create separate infrastructural facilities in different units. Inter-unit transfer of goods and services have been allowed among EOUs, EHTPs, STPs and BTPs. This will facilitate group of those units which source inputs centrally in order to obtain bulk discount. This will reduce cost of transportation, other logistic cost and result in maintaining effective supply chain. EOUs have been allowed facility to set up warehouses near the port of export. This will help in reducing lead time for delivery of goods and will also address the issue of unpredictability of supply orders. STB units, EHTP units, software EOUs have been allowed the facility to use all duty-free equipment or goods for training purposes. This will help these units in developing skills of their employees. 100% EOU units have been allowed facility of supply of spares or components up to 2% of the value of the manufactured articles to a buyer in domestic market for the purpose of after sales services. Time period for validity of letter of permission for EOUs, EHTP, STPI, BTP units has been revised for faster implementation and monitoring of projects. Now, LOP will have an initial validity of 2 years to enable the unit to construct the plant and install the machinery. Further, extension can be granted by the Development Commissioner up to 1 year. Extension beyond 3 years of the validity of LOP can be granted in case unit has completed two-thirds of activities including the construction activities. At present, EOUs, EHTP, STPI units are permitted to transfer capital goods to the EOUs, EHTPs, STPs, such units. Now, a facility has been provided that if such transferred capital goods are rejected by the recipient, then the same can be returned to the supplying unit without payment of duty. A simplified procedure will be provided to fast track the debonding or exit of the STP or EHTP units. This will save time for these units and help in reduction of transaction cost. EOU having physical export turnover of rupees 10 crore and above have been allowed the facility of fast track clearances of import and domestic procurement. They will be allowed fast track clearance of goods for export production on the basis of pre-authenticated procurement certificate issued by customs or central excise authorities. They will not have to seek procurement permission for every import consignment. Facilitating and encouraging export of dual use items called as SCOMAT. Validity of SCOMAT export authorization has been extended from the present 12 months to 24 months. It will help industry to plan their activity in an orderly manner and obviate the needs to seek revalidation or relaxation from DGFT. Authorization for repeat orders will be considered on automatic basis subject to certain conditions. Verification of end user certificate is being simplified if SCOMET item is being exported and defense export offset policy. Outreach programs will be conducted at different locations to raise awareness among various stakeholders. Facilitating and encouraging export of defense exports. Normal export obligation period under advance authorization is 18 months. Export obligation period for export items falling in the category of defense, military store, aerospace, and nuclear energy shall be 24 months from the date of issue of authorization or coterminous with contracted duration of the export order, whichever is later. This provision will help export of defense items and other high technology items. A list of military stores requiring NOC of Department of Defense Production has been notified by DGFT recently. A committee has been formed to create ITC codes for defense and security items for which industrial licenses are issued by DIPP. E-commerce exports. Goods falling in the category of handloom products, books, periodicals, leather footwear, toys, and customized fashion garments having FOB value up to Rs 25,000 per consignment shall be eligible for benefits under FTP. Such goods can be exported in manual mode through foreign post offices at New Delhi, Mumbai, and Chennai. Export of such goods under courier regulation shall be allowed manually on pilot basis through airports at Delhi, Mumbai, and Chennai as per appropriate amendments in regulations to be made by the Department of Revenue. Department of Revenue shall fast track the implementation of EDI mode at courier terminals. Shall also be eligible for exemption from transitional product specific safeguard duty. In order to encourage manufacturing of capital goods in India, import under EPCG authorization scheme shall not be eligible for exemption from payment of anti-dumping duty, safeguard duty, and transitional product specific safeguard duty. Next, additional ports allowed for export and import. Calicut Airport, Kerala, Arakkonam, ICD, Tamil Nadu have been notified as registered ports for import and export. Duty-free tariff preference schemes DFTP. India has already extended duty-free tariff preference to 33 least developed countries across the globe. This is being notified under FTP. Quality complaints and trade disputes. In an endeavor to resolve quality complaints and trade disputes between exporters and importers, a new chapter, namely Chapter on Quality Complaints and Trade Disputes, has been incorporated in the foreign trade policy. For resolving such disputes at a faster pace, the Committee on Quality Complaints and Trade Disputes is being constituted in 22 offices and would have members from EPCs, FIEOs, APEDA, or EICS. Next, Vishakhapatnam and Bhimavaram added as towns of export excellence. Government has already recognized 33 towns as export excellence towns. It has been decided to add Vishakhapatnam and Bhimavaram in Andhra Pradesh as towns of export excellence in terms of product category seafood. So students, in this module, we have discussed the meaning and concept of foreign trade policy. The EXIM policy is formulated keeping in view the national priorities for economic development and the international commitments made by the country. It is essential that the entrepreneurs and the export managers understand the trade policy as it provides the vital inputs for the formulation of their business growth strategies. The foreign trade of India is guided by the export import policy of the Government of India and is regulated by the Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act 1992. EXIM policy contains various policy decisions taken by the government in the sphere of foreign trade, that is, with respect to imports and exports from the country, and more especially export promotion measures, policies, and procedures related thereto. It is prepared and announced by the central government, Ministry of Commerce. India's EXIM policy in general aims to developing export potential, improving export performance, encouraging foreign trade, and creating favorable balance of payments position. Thank you very much.